all teams in all category teams at this stage where the governing body don't have a league to facilitate, so we take it onto ourselves to do our exhibition within ourselves with the junior development. We also thank the referees, Mr. Cullen, Mr. Jamaica, for taking the time off. So I guarantee you, we will fulfill all the desires of refreshment, entertainment, and the chance to taste the cuisine of various caterers from these various communities. Gashiming, Laloon, Marak, and Larofin. We also, when the sun going down and the tournament starts, we'll have a registration, male and female, who, if we impress them with the exhibition we put down here, register, and then we will start a community development program here. And thank you.
Okay, welcome to the Marak Recreation Ground, and today we are here to highlight an initiative by Mr. Rudolph Jack. Now, Mr. Rudolph Jack, co-founder and coach of Rainbow Rugby Team, and his idea was accepted by the Trinidad and Tobago Olympic Committee, hence the reason that we are here to witness the talent extravaganza, where they are looking for talent to export the sport of rugby, and no better place than the rural community of Moruga. Rudolph, it's a pleasure, and tell me a bit about this whole idea and what you all expect to get from this today.
The pleasure is mine. What we're looking to do is seek. Well, what happened, I came here about 20-something years ago and identified the talent in the Baptist school with the set of trophies. So I always knew once I have the opportunity, I will try and seek talent there. And I sold it to the Olympic Committee. They bought it, and here we are today. We're looking to get team prepared for 2021 Youth Olympic and 2022 CAC, and to some extension 2024 Olympic once this project gets sustained.
Now, what sort of long-term planning you all put in place? Because, I mean, you're going to identify talent here today. Some of these youths will be from the village of Moruga. They might not be in a position to say, financial-wise, to join clubs in San Fernando. How do you all are going to be addressing that one?
Well, after having discussion with the Miss Annette Nutt and Mr. Brian Lewis, they told me that they will sustain it for a year, and because it takes 18 months to really knit a team together. So they say will sustain it for a year, and if we think they will be seeking other sponsors to continue it.
So today, really, you're going to be, you have coaches and different representatives here from the TTOC who will be looking closely at these players, right?
Right. No, what is we really doing? We're doing the exhibition here, and we also have a registration tent. So, and if people seems interested and they register, they will come and continue the project.
Okay, well, welcome back to the Marak Recreation Ground. And as I said before, that we are here for the initiative put on by the Trinidad and Tobago Olympic Committee, the Talent Extravaganza, where they will be trying to identify talent for upcoming major tournaments in the sport of rugby. And I have with me here a representative from the Trinidad and Tobago Olympic Committee, Ms. Annette Nutt, who is the General Secretary. Welcome, and it's a pleasure to chat with you this morning.
Okay, great, and I'm so happy to be here. I mean, long journey to get here because I actually live in Tobago, but I mean, it's wonderful to be here and to see what Rainbow and Rudolph Jack have been doing with rugby in the community and rural areas.
You didn't travel by boat though?
I did actually. I came down on the boat, so kudos. It looks like we're getting there. I have to be careful. I'm careful what I say.
Now, this idea, as what I understand, came from Rudolph Jack. Now, we know Mr. Jack, he's really one of the real community leaders, you know, in sports and culture. And it was brought to the Olympic Committee. What made you all get on board?
Well, we have a program, and this has been the vision of our president, Brian Lewis. When he started this quadrennial and started as the leader of the Olympic Committee, there's a project we wanted to initiate called the Next Champion, and it's a talent identification program. But it wasn't just the ordinary talent identification program. We were trying to do it in at-risk areas, rural communities, and who better to help us with something like this than Rudolph Jack. A few years ago, he won our Alexander B. Chapman Award, and we knew that Mr. Jack always has been working really hard in the communities, and we felt that, you know, if you're going to start a project like this called the Next Champion, you don't need to start from scratch. You have somebody in a community already doing the work, and so we felt that it was a good way to support Mr. Jack, and of course at the same time we're looking for the next champion. What we decided with this project, we were working with Mr. Jack that we would look at it over a period of 1 year. So he's going to do some work in the community, coming back into the community on a regular basis, and then doing some camps. And out of that, if you have 2 or 3 athletes that, as you say, are special and need to be included in any team, etc., we have to find a way of them coming maybe perhaps not necessarily into Port of Spain to train, but definitely if you have somewhere like Marabella where Mr. Jack is doing that, hopefully the union will then support what I call a satellite training center, because too often in our national teams Port of Spain is the be-all and end-all, and we feel that we have to, especially in team sports, that we have to continue. Everybody has to come to every training session in team sport. I often use the reference, what do they do in Australia? What do they do in England? These are large, big countries. They don't have everybody coming to every training session. People have a training program. They know there's a certain level of fitness that you need to have, and therefore you can train with a satellite training center, a satellite coach, and come together at specific training sessions with the national team. So hopefully we could look at perhaps Marabella, Mr. Jack and his group of coaches as one of the satellite training centers that will then mean that they don't necessarily have to travel as far for training sessions, etc. Well, we, of course, yes, and especially now with for athlete welfare and funding, it is really a challenge because many of the athletes, and understandably, the Ministry of Sport can't necessarily help all the athletes. We do have the Athlete Welfare Fund, and we look for all sources of funding, either through the IOC, through our Pan Am Sports, regional sports. Any opportunity we can get any extra funding, we do. Of course, it then becomes a little harder for us because now instead of perhaps 10 or 15, everybody's coming to the TTOC, so then we have to prioritize. And of course, you know, with success, success comes more success. So obviously sometimes you look first for the successful athletes to help to build the profile of sport, etc. I mean, there are so many other situations these days that are taking away from sport, and we all have to be very wary of them. I don't need to mention, I'm sure everybody's very much aware. But the reality is there are a lot of people out there working hard for sports, especially some of the athletes, and it is tough. Some of them give up the whole question of jobs and careers to train for a national team. And so whatever sport we get, as I said, we try to source it from every possible funds, and of course again with sponsorship. But I can tell you that it's not always easy when sport is in the newspaper for the wrong reasons. It's very disheartening for the athletes as well, and for the many volunteer administrators. You know, the minute you're involved in sport, everybody immediately thinks that you're all being highly paid. Both Mr. Lewis and myself and all the executive members of the Olympic Committee are all volunteers. But that doesn't mean because you're a volunteer, we are still professional in our approach. We are volunteers and we have the passion for the sport. And so it's very disheartening when, as you say, one article comes up and of course, you know, everybody gets tarred with the same brush and it's all sport and then everybody. But there's so many athletes out there, as you say, trying their best, and not only in perhaps athletics where it's in all sports, and you think of the young girls that are playing football now and trying to get to the world championships, and you say to yourself, well, what support do they get? Who pays their bills? Who pays for them to live day to day? And so those are the kind of questions that we have to ask ourselves. And so, you know, there's a plea for those who think about in the media, and I'm glad you said it as a media person, that let's not tarnish sport all the time with the bad press. Let's get some more of the positives into the press as well. We've helped many of the athletes that are now on the podium and bring in glory and of course glory for the country. But we're not about getting the kudos for it. What we're really about is really trying to support our athletes to get. It's tough, it's difficult even for a government when you have so many other priorities with health and education and with limited funds. What we just hope now, that I always say that this is an opportunity for everybody, whether it's in government, private enterprise, etc. Times are tough. This is the time to put structures in place, controls in place. Let us look at what the realities are and the priorities, and not be look on wastage and gaps. And so therefore, let's use this opportunity to really try and build a structured in our administrations, in national sporting organizations. Yes, people complain, oh, well, I'm not being paid for this. Well, then if you really feel that way, then don't accept the job. Don't accept the job. Do let somebody else come along. Maybe then your sport perhaps isn't ready for the elite level, and you really, don't have. Yes, I understand that to really be a professional, you have to have professional support, but first you have to have structure, and the structure can come as a volunteer and not necessarily from paid administrators all the time. I think, to be fair to corporate Trinidad, if you think about putting your money into an organization, one of the first things you want to make sure that there's some structure, and the structure meaning that the funds go to the right, what it's supposed to be, and there's no misappropriation. So the funds are specific to some particular project, that they go to particular project. And I can say this, that the IOC is very strict for us. We do get funding from the IOC and from the Pan American Sports, but we have to ensure that we apply it to the right project and that we have to account for it. So one of the first things that I think a corporate body would look at is how well structured you are as an administration. And it's like anything else. If I have my name associated with you, I would only want positive things. So when the negatives start, you're always worried that I don't want my name associated with negative things. So I think at times maybe we're a little bit hard on corporate Trinidad. And I mean, you can imagine, yes, for sport, but it's obviously everything else there has to support it. They have to support culture, health, projects for children and diabetes and all the rest. And so let's look at a fair share of the pie. I think that we need to get more structured. We need to be able to be accountable. And so that corporate Trinidad is not just about a donation, but it's value for money in sponsorship.
Well, let me say it was indeed a pleasure chatting with you. On behalf of myself, I want to say a special thank you to you and Brian and to the entire staff, because you all are doing a tremendous job.
These projects are worth it for us. We have our dream. We talk about 10 goals 24, and people say Brian Lewis is a madman. But it's not about that. It's about changing the way we do things. It's about changing. It's a concept, and it's absolutely. So through this is one of the projects, the next champion. And so hopefully there's a little guy out there called Jordan. He was running around in red. He could be our next champion. As we
continue highlighting the Trinidad and Tobago Olympic Committee event here, which is called Talent Extravaganza, where the Olympic Committee and Rudolph Jack, they have come together to identify talent in various sports. Rugby, one of the main sports here today, but they are also going to be doing the same for track and field and boxing. And we have been here for the better part of the morning, highlighting what is going on here. And I have with me a member of the 6th Company rugby team. Now, this is the rugby team coming out of the rural community of Moruga, and that is what the whole project is about, going to rural communities and identifying talent. And I have with me Daniel Modest. Daniel, it's a pleasure and good afternoon.
Yeah, even.
Now, rugby in Moruga is a new thing for many of us. How long have you started, and tell me a bit about what is happening with your team up here?
Well, we started about 3 years now, but after, well, some little issues happen between the teams and the sponsors and things, and so we kind of slow down on it a little bit. We now start to get back ourselves in it, well, about 3 months, yeah. So right now we're training with Rainbow, yeah, to get our full, because right now we really have no coach and thing to coach we not. So we just train with Rainbow once in a while when we get the time and thing. Yeah.
So how difficult it is for you all? Because I guess if you have to train Rainbow, that means you have to go down to Marbella. I know that it might be tough financially. What would you all like to see come out of this venture here today for rugby in Moruga?
Well, let me see. Well, we're gonna need more coaches. Yeah. More youths to join and things. Especially ones them who just give plenty trouble and things. It could be a good sport for them now. Yeah, they could like it too because it's a tough sport. Yeah.
Well, how your team managed to get like uniforms and assistance to travel from here to Marbella for training and coming back?
Right, we just get assistance from Rainbow, the coach on Rainbow, which is Mark. Yeah. If we get no help from him, we just don't come. Only because he just help you out now. Only because he helping you out, we just make it. If he ready to help you, we can't make it. Yeah.
What do you think is needed for communities like Moruga? You're all in a sport. Do you think the government should come in and help clubs, especially you all could have given up many times because I'm sure it's not easy with the challenges you all face, but you're still playing the sport. You feel like government should come in and assist you all, but even if it's a stipend to travel to and from or to pay a coach?
Yeah, that would be real good. Yeah.
What goal have you set for yourself in rugby? What would you like to achieve in the sport?
Well, I would like to play for my country, just Trinidad.
Well, Daniel, it was a pleasure, and we wish you all the best.
Man, thanks.
Okay, joining me here is Leah Kentiba. I hope I pronounced the last name correctly. And you are a member of the Defence Force Women's Rugby team. We are up here at Marak, identifying talent, and I think it's a very good idea, especially in rural communities, because we know in rural communities have the best set of sportsmen and women. Tell me about your career in the sport of rugby.
Well, last year, I'm originally a netballer, and I wanted to play something new. And I wanted to play something new, and the captain for the Defence Force team, he said, well, come and try the rugby. And I went and I started playing with police. And after that, I find the sport was amazing. The aggressiveness of the sport. I love everything about the sport. Yeah, everything. The sport is amazing. And youth itself, ladies, they should come out and really play the sport. See it, it's really good, What plans you have put in place? Because a year in the sport now, I'm sure you're looking to make the national team or something like that. What goal have you set for yourself in rugby? Well, my first game playing in rugby, I said that I will make it on the national team. And presently now I am training with the national team. Yeah. Well, I played sevens. I played tens, like one game in tens, but I played sevens majority of it last year, yeah.
As a female, what message would you send to other females? Because I know a lot of people be watching this sport and say it's too physical, What would you tell other female, to attract them to the sport?
Not because the sport have aggression towards it. Everybody is capable of doing anything. Don't matter if you're small, you're big, it don't really matter. So long as you put your mind towards something, it is possible that you will be able to play this sport. It's not everything is physical and it's aggressive and whatever, but everything normal with these sports. Yeah, it's a nice game. It really is a nice game, and females should want to try it and see how the sport is. Don't just judge it by you seeing people just running and tackling you or whatever. Come out and try it and you will love it. They will.
Yes, we are still here at the Marak Recreation Ground in Moruga, and joining me here is the newly elected president of the Trinidad and Tobago Football Rugby Union. The last time you saw him on ACTN, he wasn't the president, but he is now. Mr. Peters, congratulations on your achievement, and tell us a bit about your plans for the sport of rugby.
Congratulations to me, thank you very much. The plan, basically is still to make it a national sport. I think I would have said that at the last interview, and that is it. I was interviewed sometime recently, and they asked me, at the end of my tenure, what do I want my legacy to be? And I'm in Marak this evening, 3.5 hours to get down here. I want, when I drive by any recreation ground in Trinidad and Tobago, to see children, adults, and seniors playing with a rugby ball or a few rugby balls. As I say, the fastest growing sport in the world, we have to make sure that it grows here too and reflect that, yes, this is the sport of the future, right? We want to see that. That's what we want to see. One of the things we want to do is to get people in the communities trained to deliver the program that we want, the programs that we want, right? So that you don't have to come out every day to come to play rugby. You'll have like a PE teacher in the area, a school teacher who might be interested. So if we could get to them and train them, you have somebody in the village council, right, so that they could deliver the program, and you come together for festivals, especially for the youth, and so you come out every now and then. You don't have to be coming out every week, right? So this is what we're trying to develop now. We have written to the CEO of the Ministry of Education, right, to get approval to get into more schools, to get the PE teachers committed and other teachers committed. And again, because as I tell them, when I started to play in 1974, the teachers were the ones who were taking us to games all over. Right, in our first year, we played a national semi-final under 15 against St. Peter's College in Marabella. And it was the teachers, the teachers are the ones who took us down there. So this is what we want to get back into the system, right? And let people know, hey, nothing is wrong with the sport. We need you.
Well, I agree with the point you made there, because I recall when we all were young, your teachers used to take you to many events. I remember when there was test cricket in the Savannah, in the Oval, a bus is coming and taking you to, you understand? So you've been exposed at a young age to either like or dislike the sport. Now, touching a bit on the rugby, the men's senior team defeated Bermuda about a week back. What's the next step for the senior team in this tournament?
All right, we play USA South on the 16th of June at CIC grounds.
Okay.
Yeah. After that, we're supposed to go Cayman Islands to play the final in our group. If we win the group, then we're supposed to go and play one of these South American teams, the Central American teams, right? Colombia, one of them. So we're looking forward to that. The team is doing pretty well. Bermuda is a hard nut to crack. Yeah, I must tell you that. Right. Historically, I think Bermuda still has the upper hand on us. So it means that we're doing something right. Yeah. Right, because they were able to hold off Bermuda. Fitness is still a little issue, but I mean, I think we get in there. And once we do that, I think we should be okay.
What do you see as the rugby biggest challenging factor right now?
Finances. As always. Yes. We come under sport company, we're not sure. We get money from World Rugby. We try to do some fundraising. Look, our under 19 team has raised close to $50,000 for their tour to Mexico on their own. But that funding is the main thing. And again, with the same program we're talking about in the villages, you have to get people to come out and deliver it. And the only way you could get them to come out and deliver it, you have to give them a little stipend, you have to take care of them. You have to make them want to do it, right? You're not offering a salary. We can't afford to pay a salary, but you want to take care of them, in a way that they say, hey, I love this sport, I'll do this for my sport, and you take care of a little thing for me, right? If you want a man to come down to Marak,
gotta give him something.
You understand? You gotta give him something. So that's one of the biggest challenges that we have, the financing.
So since being elected as the president, how is his seat? Hot, lukewarm, cold?
Hot. Hot. I work and live in Chaguanas. This last week I've been into Port of Spain at least 3 times. At the ministry, up to yesterday morning, 6:15 I was at the ministry. Yeah. Right. Right. Ex-President Figueroa was at the ministry Thursday. Tuesday we had executive meeting, right? And Wednesday I had another meeting that I had to attend. So, because again, we're trying to find a way to get the thing done, to make sure the teams are properly financed so that they could attend the tournaments. Trinidad and Tobago has attended every regional tournament, all teams, for the last at least 15 years. And I feel it'll go back further than that. So you don't want to break that cycle. You really don't want to break that cycle. Teams love to see Trinidad and Tobago. They love to beat us, but they love to see us. Once you say Trinidad and Tobago, there's a drawing card for the other teams. So we don't want to break that cycle. We want to participate, and then we have to provide opportunities for the young men and women in our sport. The only way they will get opportunities is by being out there and competing, letting universities see them, because some of these tournaments, they have coaches, scouts and things from universities. So you want them to be available to take these opportunities. And the only way we could get them to take the opportunities is we have to get them out there playing. So that is one of the main things with us.
Well, let me wish you all the best, and I look forward to seeing great things in the sport of rugby. And we are there to support you.
Yeah, sure. And we love the support. Thanks much. Okay.
Well, there you heard it from the president of the Trinidad and Tobago Rugby Football Union, Colin Peters, newly elected. He said the seat is hot, but nevertheless, we are seeing progress in the sport of rugby. We are at Marak here looking to identify talent in the sport of rugby. And from all indications, rugby is on a good footing. For corporate Trinidad and Tobago, you're out there, anybody have a chance to view this interview, there's a lot of young people involved in this sport, and I think money invested in young people is money well spent. So I think that, and you're not going to lose because I mean you have your tax break. So give something to the young people. And when you come and look at rugby is a lot of the rural communities, the high-risk area young people coming out from. So I urge you, Trinidad and Tobago, come out and support the sport of rugby financially. Anyhow you can help to advance the sport, it is going to be welcome. So again, thank you for staying with us. We are at Marak Recreation Ground, and we say goodbye and have a good evening.